South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here on a Friday, the first Friday in May, which means tomorrow is the first Saturday in May, which means the Kentucky Derby is tomorrow. I see Brian's excited for it.
Best 2 minutes in sports?
Well, it's also, I will tell you, it's also the day that everyone should be circling to figure out who I'm picking so you know not to bet them. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. We might have some agreement on the desk, which I'll apologize to who I agree with in advance right out of the gate, Alex.
I think tomorrow's your day.
Oh, I hope.
I think your luck is changing,
Alex,
Jeff.
I hope so. I'm definitely due after, again, just getting winners thrown out, being all over Sierra Leone all year last year until the race he won in the Classic.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. Whatever. It is what it is. But Chris Andrews is going to join us later in the show, about a half hour from now. So 10:30 Pacific time, Chris Andrews will be on desk with us. Maybe a few minutes here or there, either direction, but he'll be on around 10:30. But Alex, let's go through last night and then look at the weekend ahead in both the NBA and the NHL. We'll start on the ice. There were 3 closeouts last night.
Yes, there were.
Toronto finally gets it done. Took them 6, even though they're up 3-0, but they get it done, and that's all that matters for a franchise who's found ways to lose in the postseason in excruciating fashion. And that sets up what is an unbelievably fun quartet of teams left in the Eastern Conference. Toronto, Florida, and Washington, Carolina are 2 mega series in the conference semifinals, Alex.
I mean, really, the 4 best teams in the East, right? And all year long, it's been these 4. Of course, Tampa was up there as well, and that was a good series between them. But in the end, that Florida team, I mean, they are just tough, physical. We've been talking about it. So we'll see if the Maple Leafs can have their best effort. Now, yesterday was a big turning point, right? Because it's been forever about their stars, their Nylander and Austin Matthews not being able to step up in the playoffs. Who scored last night? It was the Stars. So we'll see if they can hang in there with the Panthers. Should be a great series. On the other side, yeah, I'm nervous. I've got the Caps going pretty far, of course, in my bracket, and then a little flyer on them to win the East. But the Canes are looking really, really good, and they have been here for the past few years. I do like that Washington has home ice, though.
Early series prices have both teams without home ice as favorites. Carolina's a -60 favorite against Washington, +140 on the takeback here at the South Point, -180 on Florida, +160 on the takeback on the Leafs. Again, the teams without home ice favored in the Eastern Conference here at the South Point, and honestly across across the board. You can find the best number on the favorites are here at the South Point. You can find better numbers on the dogs out there, but if you like the favorites, the South Point numbers are the best in the market right now on both those Eastern Conference series.
I'm interested to see where my series prices will be. So I did do at least like game by game, and I would actually, let me see. Sorry, Jeff.
It's okay. We have, both of these series begin on Tuesday,
Okay,
so
good.
we'll have a full breakdown on Monday. Just wanted to at least throw those early series prices out.
I think my Capitals and Canes is going to be a little closer than my Toronto and Florida, because right now it looks like I have Toronto minus 116 in game one. So if we're adding those all together, I think I might have them as the slight favorite.
All right. It'll be an interesting go of it across the board right now. Both game ones right now here at the South Point have the road team as minus 120 favorites and even on the home teams for both of those games. On the west side, Vegas survives another 1-goal game. They hold on for dear life with the empty net at the other end. They win 3-2, another 3-2 final for the second consecutive game in that series. 3 consecutive 1-goal games. Vegas all found a way in games 4, 5, and 6 to move on. And they will take on Edmonton, who dispatches of the Kings for the 4th consecutive year in round 1, which is just the epitome of brutality for the LA Kings, who just cannot figure out the Edmonton Oilers. By the way, two big Opta-Stats numbers from both of these series that are not good for the losers. For Minnesota, the Wild are the first team in North American sports history to make the playoffs 8 times in 10 years and not make it out of the opening round.
Ooh.
So just brutal. Just let's see how Ryan feels about that right there. And then the Kings are only the second team in North American sports history to be eliminated by the same opponent in the opening round of the playoffs 4 consecutive years. The only time that's happened is Montreal did it to Boston 4 times in the 80s, 84 through 87. So, again, dubious history for both of those teams. Alex, we saw this Vegas-Edmonton series 2 years ago in the playoffs. That, of course, was a Vegas 6-game series win. The Knights went on to win the Cup, as we know, in 2023. This should be a dynamite battle. Vegas, smallest of favorites here at the South Point in this series, minus 115, minus 105 on the other side.
It definitely should be a battle here. I like when history repeats itself, so I would like to see Vegas do that in 6 again. Calvin Pickard, he has been outstanding since he has taken the role for Skinner, but this is a whole different team here with the Knights. Even though the Kings were great at home, we know that best home team in the regular season this year, but I think it was a little mental for them as well. And it definitely showed, especially, how many chances did they have and giving up leads in the games to the Oilers? So excited about that one. Definitely impressed with the Oilers to actually pull that off.
A lot of goals early in that game. So Edmonton, no advance. That's game 1. Lines on the bottom. VGK, a minus 125 favorite in game 1.
Those are the best totals you like to bet on, right? When you have that over 6 and there's 5 in the first period.
It's not a bad way to get things going.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to get things going. All right, let's go to tonight. We'll save Colorado and Dallas, which is going to a game 7. We'll break down game 7 and give our thoughts on what we saw last night in a second. But I want to go to game 6 tonight first with Winnipeg and St. Louis. Home sweet home so far in this series. Home team has won all 5. We're now back in Middle America. Blues are a small favorite here at the South Point, a minus 115. They're a small favorite in the market, all depending on the pricing out there. This feels like on the total, in a series that's been played as an over series, I understand that it's a winner-go-home game for St. Louis. They're built on basically needing Binnington to have an outstanding effort. But in a series that's been full of goals, other than game 2, I'm not so sure this should be 5.5 minus 35. It's 5.5 minus 10. All right, sure. But again, it's almost a look to the over 5.5 of that because it's plus 115. Who knows? Maybe we see a 5, but the fact that they're juicing it that high shows you that there does not want to be a move to a 5 at all in this game.
I'm with you. I would lean to the over here. I've got it 5.5 over minus 115. So pretty big difference there for me in the number wise. Curious what you think sidewise before I give my thoughts. Are you sticking with the home?
Home sweet home. Okay. I would lean to St. Louis. I'm not strong enough. I was actually kind of hoping that I would get even money
Right.
on St. Louis. I was hoping that Winnipeg would be a small road favorite, but home sweet home. I'm going to stick to my guns for what I said yesterday. I think this is going to be a 7-game series where the home team wins all 7. That's where I'm at this point.
I don't know if I'll bet it, but just our leans and thoughts, we can throw Vinny up there if we have it ready, because I think that Hellebuck figured it out and can help them close this out tonight. I would lean to the Jets. Same as you, though. I would like even money, at least. Too.
Yeah, hey, look, I think it's just one of those price-wise. And for Winnipeg, again, you find a way to close this thing out. You want to get this thing done as quickly as possible if you're the Jets, especially with an extra game coming in Dallas and Colorado for Game 7 tomorrow in Dallas, which we'll get to right now, actually. Avs win 7-4 last night to move it to a Game 7. And again, this has been a very weird series, more so than anything, where Dallas has overcome the injuries. They've managed to get this to a Game 7. Peter DeBoer is 8-0 in Game 7s in his career on the Dallas side. As we know, that's you can't do better than that. Colorado has been, you have a nice plus price on Colorado in series here. This is a game tomorrow night, by the way, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock local in Dallas. Minus 30 on the Avs, plus 110 on Dallas. But I'm more interested on the total here, because I think this is a overreaction to the circumstances at hand in Game 7.
Yeah.
This thing closed 6 minus 30 or 6.5 last night. And now we're a full goal less or a half a goal, but look at the juice. It's basically equivalent to a full goal. I understand that Game 7s historically play tighter, historically play to the under. I think this should be a 6, not a 5.5 here, Alex, on this total.
I agree with you. And you could look at it one way. I mean, we have 2 really good goalies here with Ottinger and with Blackwood, but I mean, how these stars have been playing, and I didn't mean that just the stars. I mean, the stars on each team, we have seen it, all of them score here. I mean, we saw McKinnon yesterday ranting in from the other side, and it's just been back and forth. This game was wild yesterday, this one and the Oilers and the Kings, and I think Game 7 is going to be very similar. I don't think they're going to be able to just shut each other down. So 5.5, I agree. I think that's an overreaction.
I am going to stay with what I had pre-series. I'll take Dallas. No confidence at all, but I'll stay with what I had pre-series. I had Dallas pulling the upset. I'll stick with Dallas here as them advancing. And we get Dallas and Winnipeg. We get, realistically speaking, I know the Kings had the better seed and Colorado is a favorite against Dallas, but the Stars and the Jets was a series that I kind of wanted to see more so than anything, to see how Ottinger did against that elite offense for a second consecutive series.
See, and this series, I don't think I've ever really fallen to the prisoner of the moment so much as I have with this series. And it's really just, it's good thing I'm not actually betting it, and it's just kind of leans in where I'm going. But I've been so back and forth, so I'm just going to stick with my future, root for the Avs, but no confidence for me either. It could go either way very easily. I'm curious what happens with the Stars and how they react with that goal that was really, in their own net, that the game could have went the other way very easily. So how do they react here in Game 7?
Yeah, that was such a funky play that really flipped that game. An own goal that got credited to McKinnon. Just ping-ponging all over the place in order to go in a net pinball action there for Colorado, and now win last night 7-4. All right, real quick on the NBA here, we'll pivot over. We'll have full breakdowns on Monday of all these series when we have series prices on both of the West Round 2 series, and also you'll go through your numbers completely and have everything for Monday on the show with the Eastern Conference series. On the NBA side of things, last night, Knicks close out Detroit. It was the Jalen Brunson ender, a clutch three-pointer, less than 5 seconds to go for the clutch player of the year. Knicks win by 3. The Knicks' reward is they are humongous underdogs against the Boston Celtics in round 2. Minus 800 on Boston. And quite frankly, I actually think Boston should be a bigger favorite than that in this series. I just don't see how the Knicks compete in that series. But hey, for the second consecutive year, the Knicks have won a playoff series, and that is something for a franchise that had obviously been in the doldrums for years and years and years.
And it is exciting, and you want to get behind them. But, I mean, they really just don't have the depth. And when it comes to the Boston Celtics, they definitely do. So I think it's going to be a very tough series.
Heading for crash course with the top 2 seeds, as we thought going into this postseason. Cleveland is a minus 525 favorite, which, by the way, is the best number in the market on the Cavs. If you want to bet Cleveland here at the South Point, we'll get more thoughts with Chris a little bit later on that. 2 NBA series still remain. We'll start with tonight, and then we'll get to the Game 7 tomorrow. Tonight, it's Golden State trying to wrap out Houston. Rockets staved off elimination in Game 5 with a blowout win. Now we're back in San Francisco. Warriors are 5. At total's super low again at 207. It's not as low as it was the previous 2 games, but it's still, again, NBA standards, 207 is super low. Alex, I got to stay off of this. I expect Golden State to win. Maybe you put Golden State in the money line parlay with some baseball favorite tonight. Maybe that would be the way that I look to play this game.
This is really tough because I do like what we've seen from this young Rockets team throughout the entire year, right? And that total there, the last game was 247. And all Houston really in that one, but they're better defensively at home. Now they're back on the road. I think Golden State's going to be ready for this one. You could tell they definitely took their foot off the gas in that last one and just said, okay, let's get ready to go back home and close this thing out. So I'm with you. If anything, it would be Warriors money line. Even though they've been covering these spreads throughout the playoffs here, the favorites have. So yeah, but I think that's probably the best way to play that.
Golden State 5 here against Houston here tonight at home, 207. Again, I'm going to find a baseball favorite to throw with Golden State and do a money line parlay. We got a pretty reasonable pitchers night across Major League Baseball, so we'll break that down in a few moments. And then the other one, Clippers stave off elimination. They win Game 6. Game falls right on the number, by the way, right on 6. So there you go. Game 7 tomorrow night in Denver. Nuggets are 1. So the Nuggets, interesting. The Nuggets are now favored here to win this series based off these numbers. Obviously, 1-point favorite. You're going to be favored to win the series in this 3-3. 205.5. So total's way down from what it's been. I don't know what the heck to do with this. I still think the Clippers are the better team, but it feels like that Game 1 that they blew is the difference right now. They needed to win that Game 1, and they had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, and they blew the game. And this feels like, too, where your home court, you're traveling back to elevation again. The best player in this game is on Denver.
Yeah.
I lean to the Nuggets. I'm not overly strong here. Again, if I had that plus price pre-series on the Clippers, I would have taken Denver before Game 5. Would have taken it plus 140 and then been sitting with a small profit one way or the other and sit back with my popcorn and my nice cold beverage on a Saturday night and go from there.
You think there's room for props here, looking at Joker and maybe finally getting a triple-double? Because the Clippers did pretty good last night. I mean, they really held him down, just 25 points. Of course, he still had his 7 rebounds and 8 assists, but normally we really see him step up in a big way in these meaningful closeout games. So maybe just kind of looking at him and not really banking on the whole team stepping up in this one.
Yeah, the price isn't good enough on the triple-doubles. Only plus 1.25. Jokic did have a triple-double in Game 5, but it was one of those weird, it was a 13-12-11, and the lower scoring game for Jokic in that game. But that's too low of a price. Harden at 11-1 on the only other triple-double offered at FanDuel right now. I just lean. I want to see the market mature a little bit on the props, and maybe we'll tweet some stuff out tomorrow when we go through if we bet any props. But I lean to Denver here, which will set up. Again, it doesn't matter who wins the series. I think Oklahoma City's got their hands full next round. Neither of these matchups are particularly easy. Do I expect the Thunder to lose? No, but I expect them to be pushed. 6, maybe 7 for Oklahoma City, regardless of wins tomorrow night in Denver. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll take a 1-minute break because we got to get the trivia question in the bottom line. So in the ticker, the trivia question will pop up. Alex and I will go through baseball. Chris Andrews will join us in about 15 minutes from now, right here, Sports by the Book on a Friday here at the South Point studio.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. We got baseball to get to, but first, they're chatting along with us, Alex White.
I'd love to see it. Dean Hilt, he must have watched, of course, Ralph Soroka special. He said, need Alex's new Derby pick because I did have Rodriguez, Bob Baffert's horse there that was scratched. So we will get to that as when Chris Andrews jumps on the desk with us. Attila's in there checking in from a golf tournament here in Vegas. Damien, Joey B., and how about them Avs? He said, oh, yeah, Colorado. We know. Joey B loves his Colorado teams. But thank you all for joining us. Any questions for us, please let us know as we go through baseball.
And we'll hit baseball right now, and we will begin in Cincinnati with a really good pitching matchup. The Nats and the Reds here tonight. Mitchell Parker got rocked, but that was the game the Nats came from 6 runs down to win anyway over the weekend. But Parker looks to bounce back tonight against Hunter Green, who is obviously pitched at a very high level to begin the year, one of the 4 Cy Young favorites in this National League going into the month of May. Green's a minus 180 favorite tonight, plus 160 on the Nats. 8.5 your total juice to the over, even with a good pitching matchup in Cincinnati here tonight.
I really liked the Nationals yesterday, and I didn't fire on them. And so I do like how they are playing. I do think that Mitchell Parker will bounce back because, I mean, it is the Mets. They are one of the best offenses in the league. And other than that, he has done very good this year. Only just one other start, giving up more than 1 earned run, and that was against Miami, in Miami. So I want to make a case here, but I am nervous to go against Hunter Green. 5th best whip in the league, 12th most strikeouts, just having an outstanding year. Just 1 start for him with over 3 earned runs, and that was against Baltimore. So I really don't have anything. I would like to get a little bit more. I think this is a little too high on the Reds. I have it minus 140, so plus 160 is not really enough for me to jump in here on the Nats, but that's the way I would look.
There is weather concerns here in Cincy tonight. There's a band of storms going through the Midwest, or the eastern Midwest, so we could see a rain out tonight. It would not be a shock that they could be playing 2 either on Saturday or Sunday with a similar pitching matchup with these 2.
The Reds don't like rainouts. They didn't show up the next day.
No good on the doubleheader. They did show up yesterday in a
Yes,
9-1 win to salvage that final game against St. Louis. All right, we'll go to Pittsburgh next. Again, there's a lot of good pitching matchups across the board in baseball today. This is another good one. It's Dylan Cease and Mitch Keller in the city of Bridges here. Plus 135 on Pittsburgh, minus 150 on San Diego, total of 8 at PNC tonight, Alex.
I think this minus 150 is a Dylan Cease last year number. We really haven't seen the best of him yet. So to jump in and lay a big price like that on the road, I have no interest in that. I'd have to look to taking that plus price with Pittsburgh, but that worries me a little bit too, because when you get down to the bullpens, we know San Diego has a much better bullpen. Not really interested in jumping in first half either. This could be the game that Dylan Cease needs, because we know the Pirates offense has definitely struggled. I mean, really looking at these numbers, though, both of these offenses have struggled in the last 7. So nothing strong, but it's a lean, I would say, to the Pirates.
I'm going to take under 4 first 5. At some point, you expect Dylan Cease to have a big-time outing, and this Pirate offense is dreadful, as we've talked about throughout the year. And look, Mitch Keller, guy who I loved fading early in his career before he figured it out. He's been okay this year. He's pretty average numbers, but as you mentioned, the Padres offense has not been the same over the last week, and now you're going on the road to a ballpark that usually plays in the favor of pitchers. So I would look to the under here in the first 5 and not mess around with the bullpens here tonight. So under 4, and I'm getting even money as well. So even money under 4, first 5 on Padres and Pirates would be the look here for me today. All right, we just go east into Keystone State. We'll go to Philadelphia next. Phillies dropped the final game against Washington yesterday. Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3 in New York against the Mets, so they doubled the Mets' home loss total for the year going into that series with back-to-back wins. It's Merrill Kelly and Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo's off to a great start in Philadelphia. Minus 150 tonight. 9.5 your total in this one, Alex.
I like the Phillies side. I'm actually going to play over for their team total, though, over 4.5. This lineup has seen a lot of Merrill Kelly, 110 at-bats total. My home run pick, because we're going to throw one out there for you. It is coming from this game. I like Trey Turner. He has seen Merrill Kelly the most because, of course, those 2 years with the Dodgers. So has 1 home run off of him, only has 1 on the year. So you can get a good plus 450 price. I wish we were getting a little bit more, but just to have some fun there. But the bet is over 4.5. I do think this Phillies offense will. And then you brought up Luzardo on the other side. 15th most strikeouts in the league so far this year. And the Diamondbacks pretty much just average against lefties so far. 19th in OPS and just a 3.22 average. So I think that Phillies is the right side here.
I'm going to stay out of this one. Arizona, I'm concerned about Arizona's bullpen long-term, maybe not just yet, but Phillies, that was important. After getting blasted in New York for 3 straight games, they've won back-to-back series. They won the 3-game series in Chicago. They won the series against the Nats. They made up a game and a half in the last week. Again, it's too early to be looking at standings, but you don't want to fall too far back this early in the season. So credit for the Phillies, at least a little bit better after that bad week in New York a week ago. All right, we go to Atlanta next. It's Yamamoto and Holmes. Yamamoto's been a top 5 pitcher in the National League, even with a bad start his last time out against the Pirates. Grant Holmes has actually pitched relatively well, all things considered, for Atlanta. Last start was bad, and that's why the numbers ballooned. Gave up 6 earned in 5 innings, and that ballooned his ERA a run. Total of 9. Braves are a huge dog at home at plus 160. Is even with the pitching mismatch, Alex, is that worth a potential look here with Atlanta at home plus 160?
No, I like the other side completely. I like the 1.5 here with the Dodgers. I wish it was even money. That's what it was overnight, but it looks like the bettors do like that side as well. Yamamoto coming off, I guess, his worst start of the year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Against with Skeens on the other side. So I think we're going to have a big bounce back spot for him in this one. And I just worry about Grant Holmes long term. I mean, yes, he did start the season very good, but now seeing that against the Diamondbacks, and now you got to go against this Dodgers offense, I don't think it's going to be great for him to start out there. So I like the Dodgers side minus 1.5.
All right. I'm staying off. I just was more like, well, Braves are plus 160 at home. You just don't see that type of price ever, even with, again, Atlanta's really stabilized things. They're back to only 2 games under 500. So much better after that. Of course, when you start 0-7 and 1-9, getting it back to only 2 games under by May 2nd, pretty darn good for the Braves.
Man, Jeff, did you see too? I mean, 3 home runs of those 6 earned runs for Grant Holmes against the Diamondbacks. So looking at the Dodgers numbers, I mean, 184 WRC plus in the last 7. So could be a rough one, but we'll see how it goes.
Going to Milwaukee next. Cubbies on the road, just up north to Milwaukee in this one. It's Brown, it's Priester. Brown and the Cubs are a small road favorite here at minus 115, even on the Brew Crew. Total 8.5 in this one, Alex.
Brewers coming off of a tough loss yesterday. I do like the Cubs side, but I don't have a big enough difference here to actually bet it. But I do like what we've seen from Ben Brown. He did have a rough start against the Phillies there. But last year against this team, he had 7 hitless innings, just 2 walks. So I don't know. There might be something there with him against this lineup.
The best pitcher yesterday for the Milwaukee Brewers was Jake Bauers, who was an outfielder. So it's usually not a good sign if that's happening for the Brewers, who lost 8-0 yesterday to the White Sox. And White Sox avoid getting swept.
Yeah. I'm curious what the White Sox and Rockies money line parlay yesterday would have been.
I don't remember how big of a dog Colorado was. I know they were a big one, but it would have been a nice one yesterday. Going to St. Louis next. Good pitching matchup under the shadow of the arch. It's Sonny Gray and Clay Holmes. Mets and Cardinals. These teams played 2 weeks ago. Mets swept a 4-game series in New York. They did beat Sonny Gray in that series. 7.5. Mets small road favored -115. Even money on the take back for St. Louis starting this 3 in Middle America.
Pretty good start for both of them though. So Sonny Gray did have 6 strikeouts and just 1 walk, but he did give up 6 hits on 3 earned runs. And on the other side, Clay Holmes, pretty much the same, 2 walks to his 6 strikeouts and just 1 earned run there. I would like to take the Mets side, but you mentioned it. Cardinals, I mean, they were in most of those games in that series, so you got to give them some home revenge here. They're definitely going to be ready to play against the Mets. So I'm going to stay off of this one and see if over the weekend I can jump in.
-115 on New York. In St. Louis tonight. We go to San Francisco to wrap up the NL slate. Robbie Ray, Antonio Sanzatella, Giants, huge favorites. -280, +240 on the Rockies, who are on a winning streak. Yeah, 2 in a row for Colorado. They're now 6-25. Getting better, Alex White. Total of 8 in this one. My homer pick is in this game. I'm taking Mike Yastrzemski tonight, +650. Antonio Sanzatella's given up 7 homers in just shy of 25 innings so far this year. Not good. Not good. So we're going to take the left-handed bat of Yaz, get one into McCovey Cove here tonight. So we'll take the Giants we'll take the Giants outfielder Yastrzemski for our homers here on Friday at +650.
I wish it wasn't a lefty on the other side here with the Giants because I'd like to try and jump in with a little bit of that +240 with the Rockies, see if they can keep this win streak going. I have a 60-cent difference with Robbie Ray on the other side, but the Rockies are 23rd OBP versus lefties this year, 618 at 206 average, so not good. I'm not really going to trust their bats here in this one, so stay away from me. I'm not even, don't even want to jump ship to the other side, even though I've been trying to back the Giants and didn't get there yesterday, so I'm going to stay off of this one.
We go to the AL side of things. Yanks and Rays in the Bronx. Pepio and Fried. Fried's a huge favorite, -250 on the Yanks. +210 on the Rays, 8.5 the total. Aaron Judge watch. Aaron Judge's average is up to 427 now.
Wow.
Here in his what will be his first game of May. 427 for Judge, 10 homers, 32 ribbies already. 50 hits for Judge. 50 already. Absurd. Alex White, who Judge was obviously already $7 favorite to win the MVP in the American League.
Yeah, forget our segment earlier this week that anybody is going to chase him down. This is tough. These two teams have already played each other, and the pitchers and lineups, they've already seen each other. Remember, Max Fried was going for a no-hitter until like the 7th or 8th against this Tampa Bay team. So he did go 7 2/3 and then ended up giving up 2 hits in the 7th, 0 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. So his strikeouts have been going down a little bit since that strong start. So I think this price is just a little bit too high on him, -250. That's about a 50-cent difference there. So if I were to play it, I would take that plus price with the race.
All right. Tampa, a potential look here tonight. Going to Baltimore next. Kramer and Waka, -140 tonight on the Baltimore Orioles at home. That's a 15-cent move from what it opened at. Total of 9, rematch of last year's wild card series, which of course was won by Kansas City.
Yep. I think that number's right. Maybe a little steep there on the Orioles, but you know my philosophy is so far this year. If they're against a righty, I'm definitely not fading them, so I'm not going to jump in at that +125 with the Royals. That's the only way I'd be trying to make a case here. So nothing for me in that one.
No, nothing here. If any, I'm with you. That's only a case for the underdog here. I don't think Kramer should be this big of a favorite in what is a relatively even pitching matchup. Going to Toronto next is Bassett and Allen, Guardians and Blue Jays. Bassett's a -155 favorite tonight, +140 on the Guards, 8.5 your total. Bassett, again, we saw last year Bassett had a little bit of a regression, but he's been excellent to begin this year for Toronto. Don't know if he should be a -155 favorite, though, in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of close. I would say -140 is the number I was more looking at here between these two. I like the under a lot in this game. Full game and potentially even that first 5. I'm going to have to see what number we're getting there. But I think I'm going to split my unit and go half each way Both of them, I can trust their bullpens, especially the Guardians. So, yeah, I like the under. That'll make the board under 8.5. I think that's much too high, especially with these offenses and what we've seen as of late. So, under for me.
We go to Boston next. The wind's blown out to center field tonight at Fenway. They got a 9 on the total. It's Bayo and Ryan for the Red Sox and the Twins. Sox are a small favorite in this one. Alex -10, -15 on the other side of Minnesota. I'm staying a heck away from this. The wind scares me here in this one at Fenway.
Yeah, and I mean, the Red Sox, we've seen them really just averaging like 5 runs a game. I don't know how long we're going to keep that going. We're not talking about Joe Ryan enough. He has been outstanding, 8th best whip in the league, sub 1 for him, and he's 20th in strikeouts right now. So he has been very good for this Twins team. I'm starting to like this Minnesota team. I mean, their offense is getting going in their last 7, 131 WRC plus. Their OBP is a 358. So I like this team. It would be a lean that way. But really, if you're not getting a plus price, pretty much is a pick'em game. So I'm going to stay off of it, but watch it and definitely keep an eye on Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan has always been kind of one of those under-radar guys. Been quite good since coming into the majors 3 years ago now. Going next to Chicago, the other Sox. Hey, the White Sox won a game yesterday. They're now 8-23. Jonathan Cannon's going to get the ball for them tonight against the Stros. Their ace, Framber Valdez, goes for Houston. -240 on the Stros. $2 on the Sox. Total 7.5. This feels like a nice little stay off for me, Alex White.
I mean, hate to do it. Yeah, I can't lay -140 on a run line, that's for sure. But that would be the only way, is trying to back the Astros here. White Sox are terrible against lefties, 29th in OPS, and just a 200 average. So I don't know how we're going to get any runs from that side. Maybe we could look. Yeah, I don't really love that going over for the Astros either. So stay away from me as well. But I like the Astros to get this done.
Going to Texas next. It's Brian Wu and Jack Leiter tonight in that one in Arlington. Rangers. The Rangers offense has kind of just gone kaput the last 10 days since Seager's dealt with not being 100% healthy. I mean, that series, other than the 15-run outburst against the A's, they lose 3 out of 4. It's scoring 1-1-0 in the other 3 games. Before that, in San Francisco, it was 2-2-2. So throw out the 15. It's been 6 out of 7 games where the Rangers have scored 2 or less. A little bit concerning now getting a team that we know knows how to pitch in the Seattle Mariners. Wu's a -115 favorite on the road with a total of 8.5. Mariners, by the way, very quietly have gotten themselves to 18-12, which is the second best record in the American League.
So this is what the Mariners do, right? They look really good early on, and then they kind of start to fade off. But their offense looks really good. I mean, 174 WRC plus in the last 7. Slugging is 542. I like that side. That's the only way I would play it. I like that plus 140. Now we're talking for a run line. I will just say yesterday, because we've been tracking home and away, 7-4 for the road teams. 6 of the 7 covered the run line, and we talked about it with liking the run line for the road team because, you know, you're getting that 9th inning for them. So I like the Mariners a lot in this one. Wu, 10th best whip. It's another sub 1 for him. So, I mean, geez, he's coming off a great start with 8 strikeouts, 1 walk against the Red Sox. So I think that's the only way. Corey Seager, I believe, is expected to come back tomorrow. But then this Rangers offense is just kind of a mess all around. I see that they sent Berger back down to AAA. So just trying to figure things out and find the right lineup. I don't think this is a great spot for them against the Mariners.
Yeah, aiming for tomorrow, like you said, for Seager, and that would be a big boost for the Rangers to get him back and get him back hot right away for an offense that has been struggling the last week. Going to Anaheim next. Scubel and Soriano. Angels, Tigers. Tigers with the best record in the American League at 20-12 here in their first game in the month of May. Scubel's a big favorite on the road, -185, plus 165 on the take back on the Angels. 7.5 your total in this one.
I think the only way to play it is how I played it yesterday, and that was Tigers' run line. You got Scubel on one side, and the Angels are really just struggling. And Soriano, I mean, he's kind of stayed right there. It looks like his median is about 3 earned runs per start. It is 3 earned runs, but I mean, Scubel on the other side is 1, and the Angels still struggling to get that offense going. A little bit scary there for me. It definitely took the 8th and 9th inning for the Tigers to get on the board, but I think that's the way to play it.
And then one last one.
And Mike Trout news.
Yeah, Trout's on the IL again. They just can't stay healthy. It's very sad. Very sad for Trout. And we go to Miami to end things here, Alex, in baseball. Bledsoe and Hoagland, your pitching matchup. Athletics and Marlins. Athletics, as we've talked about, they have been spectacular on the road to begin this year. They're 17-15 overall, but an 11-6 road record, which is good for the best in baseball entering today's action. Miami, we know, has no home field advantage. There may be a cast of dozens in the crowd tonight. I'm going to stay off of it just because I don't trust Hoagland, but then Miami is a good team to fade at home, even with the good home records across baseball so far.
I know, and I would like to back Hoagland here, but really you don't know how he's going to make that jump here from AAA. He has had two starts against Round Rock with no earned runs for him coming into this one, so you can definitely understand why they are pulling him up, but yeah, I'm going to stay off of this one as well.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we get back. Chris Andrews on the desk.
You want to do...
we will do that when we get back. One more baseball thing as well. Chris Andrews, Kentucky Derby, and more when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
As you see on your screen, the home runs from yesterday. Alex and I are going to start giving out home runs daily. Trey Turner for Alex today. Mike Yastrzemski for me today. And big Christmas with the long ball of the day yesterday. The longest home run in Major League Baseball on the 1st of May. 25 homers, almost 2 miles traveled in Major League Baseball on the home runs on a Thursday.
A lot of fun. Don't forget, our producer may have a home run as well. I don't know if he does today, but...
McCormick, do you have one or no? Oh, well, we have Ryan McCormick has a mic, so Ryan McCormick can go ahead. Ryan, when you're ready, who you got today?
Let me put myself on the screen.
You like Ryan's little camera there, Chris?
What's he got?
You like that? You even see him in the corner, Chris. There, right? All the way in the bottom corner there.
So on a 22-game hit streak, going against one of the worst pitchers in the majors, I will be going to Baltimore, taking Bobby Witt Jr. against Dean Kramer. He has had a home run in each series in Camden Yards in his career, so I will be taking him to start this series off hot tonight. So Bobby Witt Jr. against Dean Kramer.
Well, Bobby Witt Jr. added to the trio for us. We'll see if we get one. 1 out of 3 is pretty good on home run props. If one of us can get home here tonight, be a nice little profit for the show. Chris Andrews is with us right now, sportsbook director here at the South Point. You also saw him on the Kentucky Derby special earlier this week with Ralph Sirocco. It's pretty fun racing weekend, Chris.
Great weekend. We got a seminar here tonight.
Yep, we do.
At South Point. We also got one out at the Rampart. I'm going to go out to the Rampart. I want to go see Kaluch. I want to meet Jay Privman. I gave him some stuff a couple years ago and want to introduce myself to him in person. So, they're our sister property, so we'd love having them too.
What time are those happening?
6 o'clock out at Rampart. I think same time here, right?
Ryan, are we 5 or 6 tonight? 5 o'clock tonight. Okay, so 5, that's why I wanted to confirm that. 5 o'clock tonight, it will be streamed right here on the South Point Studio page with Ralph Sirocco and company. So there you go.
Okay.
Oh, Ryan gave me the wrong time. It is 6 o'clock tonight for Ralph Sirocco. So there we go. So 6 o'clock, South Point Studio page. If you want that preview, on top of what we got on Wednesday, the seminar will be streamed from the South Point.
By the way,
South Point Studio.
Ralph has, between Jonathan Hardoon and John Lindo, that's as good as it gets, too.
And the cast of thousands that always joins him every single day like they did earlier in the week. Before we get to Derby stuff, because we want to talk to you about the Derby, Alex has to give a new pick because hers got scratched. With Rodriguez getting scratched, I need to give my pick so people know what, maybe not the bet. I don't know. We'll see. It might be similar to what you have, Chris. But I want to at least start with the playoffs and hoops and hockey, where these hockey series have been tremendous, especially in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
The NBA playoffs, we got a great Game 7 tomorrow night. Just what are we how's the action been, and what are we looking at here at the South Point and everything coming forward?
Action's been great. It's really been the playoffs in both leagues, but particularly in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's been tremendous, even action. We've gone into so many games. Usually we don't need the favorite to win by 2 goals. That seems to be a common thing. The guys like to bet the parlay to the minus the goal and a half and the over. But as far as like the straight bets, even last night I was watching, we needed the Knights last night, which was a rare occurrence.
Wow.
But it was kind of fun watching that game. Toronto, who's like, I make the joke, it's my rite of spring every year to pick them to win the Stanley Cup. But they do look pretty good this year. But, we still got a long way to go. And you like the Caps a little bit too. Why do I have some questions about the Capitals? I don't know why.
A little bit, a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot, I do.
Yeah.
You're not alone. And I was actually I was talking to somebody about this. I'm like, what am I missing? Like, a lot of people don't like them. But they reminded me, Logan Thompson still is a little... what's the word I'm looking for?
Inexperienced in the playoffs.
Inexperienced. So we don't really know. There's still some question marks, right, with him and how far that he can actually take them. But
there's question marks for everybody. I mean, nobody's odds on or even anything close to that. What do I got?
Unproven,
the lowest price.
That's what I was trying to think.
4-1 on the Panthers, who looked pretty darn good.
That's pretty darn impressive.
But still, 4-1. It's not like they're that huge of a favorite. You can still get a pretty good price if you like them.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this with Kaluch a lot during the year, where this NHL season seemed a very wide open path for basically everyone, because there's no dominant like your odds have. No dominant team.
No.
There's just a lot of really high-end teams this year.
A lot of really good teams,
makes for an unbelievable playoff so far that we've seen.
Yeah, and listen, just as strictly anecdotal, I think the game of hockey has grown so much since I was a kid. When I was a kid, we'd go to the Penguin games. You might have 1 or 2 Americans on the team. I remember Borje Salming, so we got one guy from Sweden. Now it's such an international game. We have great Russians. We have Swedes, Americans, of course. I mean, that's something new. Like I said, now I was a kid in the 70s, so it's a long time. But, you got Austin Matthews, big, strong kid, and regardless whether Toronto wins or not, kid grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and somehow got focused on hockey rather than baseball or football. And I mean, he's a natural athlete, but you have guys doing that really all over the world now, Eastern Europe, of course. And I think the game has just gotten a lot better, and it shows with the growth of fans watching the games too.
Do you have your Toronto number? Do you have exactas yet, or are they? I
don't have exactas. So it's, I don't, and I know there's some out there. It's weird the way our computer's set up. It's very hard for us to do. I know some other guys can do it. We haven't, but Toronto's 9-2 as of this morning.
450. Okay.
So. 4.5 to 1.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And again, all the series prices are out as well. Both Eastern Conference teams without home ice are favored. That's Florida and Carolina, and then Vegas and Edmonton is pretty much a flip with Vegas the smallest of favorites.
Yeah, I still like the old 1 versus 8 and the way it progressed.
I agree with you, Chris. Yeah.
But, I mean, I think of all the tournaments out there, the Stanley Cup is my favorite. It's just, like I said before on this show, when I got introduced to hockey as like about a 20-year-old, some guy told me you'll never see anything as intense as a Stanley Cup game. You go into the corner, you are going to get hit. They finish every check, and guys give up their bodies as a defenseman to stop a goal.
Yep.
And it really is an intense event, and I love seeing it every year.
Hoops. We only got one series left on the board in round 1 now, with Denver and LA playing Game 7 tomorrow night at Mile High. Everything else, actually, Golden State and Houston are still going. It's still in my brain. I've advanced Golden State, even though they haven't been advanced.
They haven't advanced yet.
They haven't advanced yet. No, I know. But the East is all set now after the Knicks' dramatic win last night, Chris.
Yeah. Or Celtics still, they are odds on.
Yeah.
I don't know. We respecting Cleveland as much as we should be. I have a feeling they haven't been respected all year.
I agree.
I mean, listen, I love the Celtics. There's a lot to love, but you just can't pencil them in. But I have to reflect the betting, and the betting is the Celtics are odds-on favorites, whether they should be or shouldn't be. I mean, that's up to the handicappers out there. You can certainly go the other way, and I can understand if you do. But, I mean, the Knicks are still alive. They haven't had much success against the Celtics. I think it's going to be an awful tough series for them. And who am I missing out of that conference?
Indiana.
Well, Indiana is a lot better than I think we've thought all year, too. Kind of said that to my crew a couple weeks ago. I said, what? This Pacer team is probably a little bit better than how the odds are reflected. That's a pretty decent team.
I will say, I just think it's the matchup against Cleveland is bad for Indiana more so than anything.
Yeah.
I think the Cavs just do what Indiana does, but a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that's usually not a good mix in the NBA playoffs. It's funny to see the Celtics is minus 800 against the Knicks, and my first thought was, I'm surprised they're not not minus 1,000 or minus 1,100 going in. That's just how dominant the Celtics have become in that Eastern Conference.
Well, usually, I understand from your point of view, but from my point of view, they usually bet the dogs.
I 100% get it, Chris.
I'm probably going to need the Celtics to win that series.
Yeah, that's not a bad position for you.
I've been in worse positions, trust me.
To your point, though, it is funny how both of these, happening at the same time. And we'd be shocked to see Boston or OKC go down in the first or second round. With hockey, nothing is really too shocking. There's no huge favorite or dominant team that you'd be really shocked.
I mean, we saw the best regular season team in NHL history 2 years ago blow a 3-1 lead and go out in round 1. We've seen at the time, that Lightning team that got swept by Columbus in 2019. They were the highest point team in NHL history at that point. They got swept. So you see, swept and non-competitively swept. It wasn't even like they were close games.
One of the Detroit teams, one of those great Detroit teams, lost to an 8 seed.
Was that the Giguère year? No, it couldn't have been.
No,
Giguère was a 7. But it was early. They were like 129 points and lost in 6.
Lost. I mean, it's just incredible. But in hockey, and I have a theory about that. You have 20 seconds for me to explain my theory? Because what's a shift in hockey is about a minute, right? For a forward. About a minute and a half maybe for a defenseman. Usually a little less. Man, you can do anything for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, and I try to tell my kids that in life, break it all down. Do what's right in front of you right now. So in hockey, I mean, unfortunately, I was there when the Penguins blew the 3-0 lead to the Islanders. I've watched every one of those games. But the thing is, that's how hockey, you can do anything for a minute. So that's how upsets happen. And like I said, it's a good metaphor for life.
Yeah,
just do what's right in front of you. But hockey, that's why, it's, and all these guys they're great athletes and they've been playing hockey their whole life. So, an upset can happen very easily.
100%. Again, like you said, just the variance within the game can be so different from one shift to 2 shifts later.
Yeah.
The tenor of the game can just
and
flip.
No game is a game of inches like hockey.
No, none.
One hits the crossbar and bounces out. Next one deflects right in.
Or like what happened to Dallas last night, that pinball goal that ended up flipping the game to Colorado last night.
Yeah, boy, how about, and I know ESPN's getting a lot of heat for it, which they deserve. They flipped away from Marc-Andre Fleury. Everybody was congratulating them, and they went to go to watch the national anthem. We've seen the national anthem. We've seen both of them, But they should have stayed focused on it. Because they were talking about Fleury during the whole game, too.
Yeah.
Whoever the producer was made a bad mistake.
Chris, I want to go to the Derby.
Okay.
And, actually, before we go to the Derby, I want to ask you about today, because the Kentucky Oaks is today.
Oaks today, yeah.
Is there anything you've been looking at in that race later today?
Yeah. Listen, Good Cheer is a tremendous horse. Going to be a deserved favorite. They got her listed as 6-5 on the morning line. I have a feeling she's going to be more like 4-5, something like that. It's going to take a lot of beating for her. But I'm on Ballerina de Oro. I think there's a lot of speed in this race. Going to set up for a closer, which is what Good Cheer is. So I think she's going to be very tough to beat. But I'm going with Flavian Pratt on Ballerina de Oro, just because Pratt right now is unquestionably the best jockey out there. If it comes down to a battle in the stretch, I'm going to take 10-1 on Flavian Pratt. Is really kind of what it comes down to. But I did bet win in place on Ballerina de Oro, and I put in some exactas. And I think it was Jonathan Muldoon. One of the guys, one of our handicappers, like Tenma, who's one of the speed horses. So I got one of the speed horses, Tenma, in with the 2 closers, and Ballerina de Oro and Good Cheer. And, hopefully I can get the winner, but hopefully get an exacta too.
Yeah, Ballerina de Oro was the only one that I actually looked at because it was a little bit of a price. But I think you're right. It's going to be hard to knock out that favorite.
It is. But if we come, like I said, if it's a jockey's race in the stretch, I'm going to take Flavian Pratt. Now, so a lot of times it's not a jockey's race.
Right.
It's just the best horse is going to win.
Right. And that's race 11.
It is race 11 today,
Tomorrow.
Chris, I know you talked through it a ton with Ralph on Wednesday, but for a little bit of a different audience here, what do you like here in the Derby tomorrow afternoon?
Well, I'm on Luxor Cafe, and you can go to YouTube and watch his last race. He just bursts out of the pack. He's a Japanese horse, although he's bred in America. He's a son of American Pharaoh who won the Triple Crown.
Pretty good bloodlines.
Yeah. Very good bloodlines. I talked about his, on the female side, he's a full brother to another horse that was a Grade 1 winner, and he's a half brother to a horse. And by the way, that full brother raced in Japan. But he's a full brother to a female, a filly here in America that won Grade 1s and over $2.5 million. So we know about the top line with American Pharaoh, but the bottom line also is very good. Bred to go a distance. He has the second best final eighth of a mile among all the horses. And that's usually an indicator. It's not perfect, obviously, but is one of the indicators. And he's run against multiple horses. They run bigger fields in Japan than they do in America. And I think that's going to mean a lot, can mean a lot. I know some of the California horses ran against 5-horse fields, and the trainers have purposely tried to get them in a little bit of trouble so they know how to navigate their way out of it, which, listen, Bob Baffert, we can knock him all we want about certain things, but he certainly knows how to train a horse, particularly for the Derby. But that was one of his strategies. So, but I do think it means a little something. It's hard. It's one thing to have 4 horses breathing down your neck, and as opposed to 18 horses breathing down your neck. So I like him. I mean, he's. I think the last I saw he was 12-1, and I think he's worth every bit of that. And I'm going to wheel him in the exacta on top and in second place. I've said before, most years we have a very weak field going into the Derby. This is not a weak field. This is a very strong field. But I'm hoping for one of the 30-1 shots, maybe to run second. And if it does, or maybe even wins, and if I'm lucky enough to get the exacta. And I will say this too: sometimes on Oaks Day and Derby Day, you can get some outrageous prices.
Oh yeah,
it is. And I usually don't bet place. I usually bet win, but I bet my horse today win in place just because crazy prices. Yeah, there can be some value in the place position, which there usually is not.
Now, I know Forever Young last year, and I think there's another Japanese horse. Have we had one win the Derby yet?
We haven't had one yet, but Forever Young didn't miss by much last year, and ran a good race in the Breeders' Cup. And a lot of the Japanese horses have also been going over to Europe and doing very well. And they go to Australia and Hong Kong, which are huge purses. I mean, that's as legitimate a racing as you see in America. So these Japanese horses are doing very, very well, and I think. Not that they're due or anything like that. That's voodoo handicapping. But I think there's a chance that this horse is just good enough to win this race.
Tell us about Journalism, who is the favorite, right?
Well, well-deserved favorite. I mean, there's not much I could say to knock him. Like I said, maybe a little bit that he has not run against many horses. But again, another horse coming from California, and they've tried to purposely give him a little bit to do as far as prepping him for a race like this. I mean, he's strong, not too often. I mean, I've bet favorites in this race. I mean, I had Epicenter a couple years ago who I thought should have won that race, but, I'll bet a favorite if I like him. But I think there's enough in this race that just kind of steered me away from Journalism. But, if you like him, go out and bet. I said this to Ralph the other day on the show. If you bet a plus 300 dog in baseball and it wins, you're the smartest handicapper that's ever lived. You bet a 3-1 shot in the horse race, and all of a sudden they're calling you a dead square. No, you want your money returned. And if 3-1 is not a bad return, I can tell you that.
I just want to ask about two more horses, Chris, and then Alex will give her new pick because the scratch for Rodriguez, and I'll give mine. Down in the 17 and the 18 holes, Sandman and Sovereignty.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on both of those horses?
Well, let's go to Sovereignty first. That's Billy Mott's horse. I love Billy Mott. He's won some huge races. And, when he puts Alvarado, that's kind of that's been a not so secret of a marriage. When he really likes a horse in a big race, he likes to put Alvarado on him. Alvarado was hurt in Sovereignty's last race, so he didn't ride him there. So probably a little step up for him there. And Sandman, is that who you were asking me about?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Jose Ortiz. Right now, Irad Ortiz the last couple of years has been definitely the best of the Ortiz brothers. But this year, Jose's actually riding a little bit better. So you got two great jockeys, and, that's 17. I don't go for any of that crap. And I always say this, if you have the right jockey, which in this race, you have nothing but great jockeys. If you have the right jockey, post position could be highly overrated.
Well, when Dwayne Colucci was on with us, he was talking about Sandman getting a lot of hype, but being in that dreaded 17 post.
But they moved down a little bit.
But now because of two scratches,
Yeah, Chunk of Gold is now in that 17 post.
Yeah.
So,
well, good luck to Chunk of Gold.
Yeah,
I don't think he can win that. So.
All right, Alex, you want to give your revised, or do you want me to go first?
I think you have to go first.
Okay, so this is my yearly punt off money to the parimutuel fund
We
for everybody else.
it,
Oh, no,
ahead.
I know you do. So I've narrowed it down to two horses. One of them is the one you like in Luxor Cafe. The due factor, I think, is a little bit nonsense, but the strength of Japanese racing has really improved over the last 5 to 10 years to the point.
Yeah, even go back 20.
Yeah, to the point where it's relatively surprising that there has not been a Japanese horse that has busted through and won the Kentucky Derby. And even amazing bloodlines. I mean, American Pharoah is the best horse of the last 20 years, at least. Maybe longer at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Probably longer. We might even have to go all the way back into the 70s for that at this rate. But he's one of them. And the other one I'm a little bit intrigued by, and this could be completely off base, and there are some concerns. Brad Cox's horse, number 3, Final Gambit, who I don't think has been mentioned much at all.
I think he actually has the best final eighth.
He's an unbelievable closer.
Yeah.
Closed in unbelievable fashion in the Jeff Ruby Stakes in his last time out.
Yeah.
The only issue is he's never run on dirt.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a concern to say the very least for me. But that horse's closing speed is ridiculous. Also, you gotta love the gray horse, right? I mean,
I know a lot of people do. There's been some good ones.
You got to love the gray horse.
Go back to Spectacular Bid. I mean, he only lost 2 races in his life.
Yeah, so I'm going to look. In the end, I actually agree with you, Chris. I think in the end, I'm going to take Luxor Cafe. But we're going to take some fun exactas with 7-3 because we get 7-3, 3-7 either way. That's a good night. That's a good night at the track for us.
I have to check my notes, but I think Final Gambit might have the best final 8th. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he was number 2.
Okay,
but it was it was very, very close.
There's a lot of information I'm trying to decipher in my poor little tiny pea brain. So but I know he did have a great closing kick, for sure. But that first time on dirt can really mean a lot.
That scares me. That scares me.
And it should. It should.
So Luxor Cafe, I'm with you, Chris. 7 horse for me.
Okay.
Chris, would you like a 7-8 exacta? With Luxor Cafe and then the favorite journalism? Or not really how you like to play?
I wouldn't. I'll have it.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd love it, but I'll have it.
Okay.
I'd like one of the other ones, but listen, you can walk away with a couple of bucks in your pocket after a day of horse racing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I swear when we had Dwayne Colucci on and he rattled through a few of the horses for us, because I didn't do as much homework as I did last year when I was actually on set with you guys and Ralph Soroka. But, he threw out a few names, and Rodriguez was one that I loved and him jumping to. And Luxor Cafe was, too. I mean, talking about the bloodline and everything. So I think it's meant to be that I am jumping on board with you, too.
Well, like I said, there's probably legitimately, I'd say, at least 10 horses that have a really good chance of winning this race. That would not surprise me if they won. But, who had Rich Strike?
Oh, jeez.
Everybody
had that, right? Come on.
Oh, my God. I'm still having nightmares with that because, like I said, I had Epicenter. I thought I was home free, and it just didn't happen.
Well, how about that horse that is jumping in now for Rodriguez?
Oh, Baeza?
Yeah.
Oh, that horse has a very legitimate chance, and that's going to have Flavian Pratt in the irons, even though it's breaking from, I guess it'll be post 18 at this point. Like I said, it's tough. No doubt about it. It's not a great post. But Flavian Pratt, if you like that horse, I would not let the post deter me off that horse. And it's a very good horse.
Oh, boy, if you're what you said would Rich Strike my brain, even though it's mostly because of bad losses. My brain went right to Country House in 2019 because I had maximum security that day.
I had maximum security
and we all know what happened on that one.
I had maximum security that day, too.
Yeah, man. Oh boy! By the way, Ryan, real quick, Ryan, actually, do you want to relay that to everyone? What you just texted me for the one and only Eddie Olczyk?
Oh,
that's right.
Oh, we definitely want to hear what Eddie says.
We'll give Ryan a second. Look at that! We got 4 boxes now for Ryan.
Yeah, look at that.
All right, Ryan, what do we got?
So Eddie will be on TV tomorrow. He will give out his official play, which may be different than these 2 horses. But as of now, the 2 that he is looking at is the favorite Journalism, and then also looking at let me flash it for you, the 14 horse, Tis-tastic. He likes those 2, might be making plays with those 2 horses. So Journalism and Tis-tastic for Eddie-O.
It's another great jockey on Tis-tastic and Joel Rosario.
He hasn't had a good year. Yeah. But, Rosario's, he's if you asked me 2 years ago, I would have thought he was the best jockey, especially in big races. But, Castellano wasn't doing well, and then he won last year. And, listen, they're all good jockeys. Right. A lot of times just depends on your mount and all that. And a lot of racing luck, of course.
Well, that'll be a fun day tomorrow. Again, the seminars, there's one at the Rampart if you want to go up to, if you live in Summerlin, want to go hang out, watch that. Chris will be up there. Dwayne's obviously leading the charge up
Me
there.
and Vinny are both going to be there.
Vinny will be up there as well. Also, if you're down here as well, the South Point, Ralph Sirocco, Jonathan Hardoon, John Lindo will be down here at the South Point at 6 o'clock as well. That will also be streamed on the South Point studio page.
Let's also mention we're going to be in the exhibit hall.
Exactly.
The absolute 100% best party in Las Vegas. It'll be similar to our March Madness and Super Bowl parties. And, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great time. I'll be up there hanging out.
Will you have a hat for the hat contest?
No.
That is all. That's 1 hour before the race, correct? The hat contest.
I'm not sure.
I believe so.
You're probably right.
I think it's 2 o'clock is what I saw. So the hat contest as well.
Multiple categories, so you can win in a certain category.
We should have created a hat for for the studio and just sent it up there.
I have a fedora. I might wear that
There
tomorrow.
we go. Full Tom Landry for you.
Yeah, okay.
No. Chris, hang out with us for one more minute because we're going to take one last break to get Alex's whiteboard all set up here on a Friday as we wrap things up when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
We're back in at Sports by the Book. We're going to wrap things up here in a second, but first, ticker trivia on a Friday. I built it up that Chris Andrews is going to get this one right, so we're going to ask him real quick, and we'll tell you the answer, even though I think Chris is going to give it to us. It's a horse racing question.
Okay.
Which 50-1 long shot won the 135th Kentucky Derby on this date in 2009?
Mine, Ed Bird.
There we go.
Yeah.
I knew you'd get it right away.
And I got to tell you, coming down the stretch, I'm watching with my wife, and I literally said, oh my God, that's the last horse in this race I would have bet on. Wins. By the way, won a couple races after that too. So it wound up being a pretty good horse.
Really good horse. Of course, that was Calvin Burrell on him as well, and that was a really, really fun one. That race.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you know what? That was 2009. I wasn't betting at that point, so we were in good shape. Mine, that Bird. At that point, it was the longest odds horse in the previous 85 years. Of course, that has been pretty well demolished twice with Country House and Rich Strike over the last 7 years. JR got it right, by the way. So JR starts May at 2-0.
2-0.
2-0 for JR after his dominance in the month of April.
And we already, we owe him for the month of April, right?
We do. JR, we'll be in touch with our friend JR.
What's he get?
To be determined, but he'll get something. Something good.
A comp dinner.
It may be a buffet or some Coronado Cafe, or we might even give him one of those shirts that you have on, Chris. I'm
not getting this one.
Well, not that one, no. Get it right off his back, everyone, like the final day of the
Nobody wants
regular
to see me
season.
going around shirtless, trust me.
All right, before we go, whiteboard time on a Friday here, Alex.
Okay, here we go. I've got 4 for you today. I'm going Phillies team total over 4.5. That is minus 130. I'm going Dodgers run line. Yamamoto, I think it's going to be a big bounce back spot for him. Guardians and Blue Jays under 8.5 full game. I also like that under in the first 5. And then I'm going Mariners run line here with Wu on the mound, and you are getting plus 140 here at the South Point.
There we go. A quartet on a Friday. Oh, there we go. And
one home dog that won at home yesterday.
Only the White Sox.
White Sox. Good luck.
For the Derby, all 3 of us are on Luxor Cafe tomorrow in the Derby.
So now you two matched on the Derby and the Maple Leafs?
Okay.
We did.
We'll have some Derby matchups this afternoon, too.
Derby matchups coming up this afternoon as well. And also, I have to bring it up. You have divisions in the NFL fully live as well.
I might wait until the actual schedule comes out before I do season win totals.
It's probably a good idea. See some sequencing.
I mean, they don't go till September. You're going to have plenty of time to bet it. So.
Yeah, so I wouldn't blame you. That's 10 days away anyway, it's right on top of us as well. All right, thank you for watching, everyone. We're back on Monday at 10 a.m. If you want your fix of horse racing, on the South Point studio page, we got a lot still. Of course, the preview from Wednesday is already live. Ralph Sirocco will be here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. For the morning of
and Ralph
preview.
will be upstairs, too.
Ralph will be upstairs as well.
Come by and say hello.
6 o'clock today here at the South Point, streamed on South Point Studio as well for the seminar for the Run for the Roses here in 2025. Chris, thank you.
Yes,
Alex, thank you.
Chris.
As always, good luck on your plays for the weekend. Ryan, Sean, Vince, Drew Dog, and thank you all, and Jerry as well, here on a Friday. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. I'm Jeff Parles. This has been Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.